Hey guys, I'm Big Mike, and like always, I'd like to thank you for being here today. Today we have an important webinar from NinjaTrader as they have announced the acquisition of Mirus Futures and the launch of a new brokerage under the NinjaTrader name. On Monday, June 30th, they released a press release, which I'll just very briefly read a part of. NinjaTrader Group has announced the launch of NinjaTrader Brokerage following the acquisition of Mirus Futures. The new brokerage will leverage the best of both award-winning teams to address unfulfilled traders' expectations and transform the traditional ways brokerage is conducted. So in the webinar today, we have Raymond Day. He's the founder and CEO of NinjaTrader. We also have Elliot. He used to be with Mirus Futures and now is the Executive Vice President at NinjaTrader Group. So they'll both be answering questions today. So I'm going to turn things over to Ray to get us started. And let me do that right now. I also want to remind everybody the webinar is being recorded, and I'll post the recording on YouTube sometime later today. All right, Ray, we've got your screen.
Okay, great. Testing 1, 2, 3. So I'm coming out across loud and clear?
Yep, sounds good, man.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And thanks, Mike. Thanks to everybody attending the presentation today. As Mike said, it's myself and Elliot who runs the brokerage operations. We're here to talk to you about the changes that have occurred between our companies and the introduction of NinjaTrader Brokerage and answer questions. I'll be able to answer questions specific to NinjaTrader as a whole, as well as questions related to the technology, and Elliot's here to answer questions specifically related to brokerage. On your screen, actually I think I can go full screen. Give me a sec to do that. It is important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity futures contracts. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you, and that will depend on your specific circumstance and financial resources. It is possible to lose all the funds deposited with your broker and could even incur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at brokerage support@ninjatrader.com for more information or for a copy of the CFTC full risk disclosure. Also, please remember that this webinar is for informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation or recommendation.
Okay.
So I think it's pretty important for me. Oh, sorry, Mike. Were you going to say something?
Nope. Sorry. Go ahead. There's a big delay, though. I just noticed that.
I see. Yeah, I'm getting a delay from you as well. I'm not sure if that's just a Citrix issue today or what. So hopefully we should be okay going forward. Since I can't see, obviously, anybody's questions, just let me know, Mike, if there's some problems with audio or anything like that.
Sure.
Great. So I think the first question is, why do we do this? And I think it's important to really understand, at least from my perspective, what I see the industry landscape looking like. You know, in talking to our customers and in working, through this industry over the last 10 years, where we're at right now is the industry, retail futures industry that is incredibly fragmented. You've got hundreds of brokers, and FCMs offering multiple different platforms. You've got varying forms of how they deliver information relative to fees, commissions. Some post rates on their website and they can be confusing, volume tiered, and and a lot of them don't actually post their commission rates. So we saw a lot of frustration from clients not being able to decide or decipher a lot of the information that's available. In addition to that, over the last several years, we've seen a lot of bad news come across in the form of everybody, is probably familiar with the implosion of MF Global, then the PFGBest.com fraud and scandal came along. Last year, the CME, decided to announce starting March of this year and then in full force January of next year, the raising or the CME data fees. You guys are all aware of that. just recently we had some unfortunate negative news related to Vision Financial, and so there just is this dark cloud that's been hanging over the industry. And from our perspective, there's just a lot of change required and needed. And in fact, there's already consolidation in this industry, and it has been occurring for a while. And let me give you some examples of that. Just recently, Gain Capital through OpenECRI acquired their largest introducing broker. From people we've talked to, their plans are that they're going to be going direct, meaning cutting out the middleman. There's a new FCM currently under formation that we expect to be launched here by the end of the year, if not sooner, by industry professionals that I know. And they'll be and probably are already developing technology and competing directly against a company like NinjaTrader. And so, from our perspective, there's a lot of things happening in this industry that's going to redefine how brokerage services and technology services are delivered to the type of demographic, the retail trader that we cater to. And this will change here shortly, or it is changing, and I think it's just going to look a lot different 1 year and 2 years from down the road. And one of the things, one reason of many for us, was to make sure that we were set up and positioned in a manner that will allow us to still be relevant, still be able to provide the services and the value that we can to our clients, for many more years to come. One other point I'd also like to make, if you look at for example, the equities market, the equities market is a lot larger than the futures market. And if you look at the way that brokerage services are delivered there, you don't have hundreds or thousands of brokers. You have a smaller number of brokers that serve as a much larger market, and that consolidation hasn't occurred in the futures marketplace yet. And that's the point I'm talking about. Is change is coming. It's already underway, and part of the reason for us to become a brokerage and acquire Mirror's Futures was to make sure that we were positioned to be able to grow when the change really starts to take hold. Going to the next slide. So we introduced NinjaTrader Brokerage here a few days ago through the acquisition of Mirror's Futures, and we aim to do several things. Bring futures brokerage into the 21st century through a number of different vehicles. One is to simplify and make transparent an all-in commission rate, so there's absolutely no confusion what it is that you're paying to trade, and also removing the volume tier. Most of you are at least some of you are probably familiar where you're paying a rate for trading 0 to 250 contracts, but by the time if you wanted to get a really low rate, you've got to be trading 10,000 contracts. And so we removed all that and provide what we feel is a very competitive and fair rate right out of the gate. Single source and unified support, as a single entity, meaning a NinjaTrader group owning the brokerage and owning the technology company. We're able to better provide services to our clients, customer support services, because we don't have to say things like, oh, that probably is a brokerage problem. Oh, no, the broker says it's a platform problem. It's our problem. And we're here to be able to handle that. And a very important piece, and I'm going to talk about all these things in more depth, is technology. And owning the brokerage and being able to provide the customer a seamless trading experience, whether it's on a desktop or on a phone or a mobile device, is very difficult and complex to do unless you own the brokerage. And again, I'll go into more detail in a few slides on that. So just talking a little bit more about commissions. For this information, this slide is informational purposes only, and these rates are publicly available at NinjaTraderBrokerage.com. But as I said before, I think the message is really clear. It's transparent. There's no volume tier requirements. It's an all in per round turn price. No hidden fees, no confusion. We're tying these prices to the type of license that you're using. So if you purchase a lifetime license from us, your rate is $338 for most contracts. If you have a lease, that's a subscription, it's $378. If you do not want to pay for software, you would get a $4.22 rate, and that includes our free basic version called the Direct Edition. Industry-leading customer care. So we've got over 40 people now that are dedicated to providing customer care, both on the platform side and on the brokerage side. What's really great for me is that we can now do this again as a unified company, and we've got systems and policies in place that are constantly monitored, measured, improved. I know there's been some questions on there or some comments about, hey, NinjaTrader, your platform support is great, but how are we going to make sure that occurs on the brokerage side? We've got a single individual responsible for propagating the policies, the procedures, and the SOPs, or standing operating procedures, that we have used at NinjaTrader on the platform side for many years. And we are integrating the brokerage to use those same processes and systems, as well as ways to measure. So while this is obviously brand new for everybody, we expect in short order that the level of service that you've come to expect from us as a platform provider will be reflected in the brokerage level service as well. A few other things that we're doing. We've got 24/5 weekend support for the platform, which has always been the case. We're going to continue to do our free daily training webinars, and a new thing that we're introducing here is free multi-day premium training. And what that simply is, last year we started doing multi-day, so 2-day, I think it was like, I can't remember if it was 8 hours or 16 hours in total, training, paid training for NinjaScript. And we're taking that and providing that to NinjaTrader Brokerage clients completely free of charge. So if you want to learn how to program in NinjaScript, we'll spend 2 full days with you to do that. And then the media-rich help resources, we've always been known for a pretty extensive help guide. That's going to continue, but the ultimate point here is simply, you have a single source with full accountability for all your needs, whether it's brokerage, customer service, and or platform customer service. Which brings me down to, one of the bigger points of all this, which is technology. As you guys know, we're in use by over 40,000 people around the globe using NinjaTrader. And one of the problems as a technology provider that I've always had is, what's going to happen in the future in terms of how trading platforms are delivered. One of the important things and shifts that you guys have seen in the last few years is the need to have some level of trading visibility on a mobile platform, or in other words, delivering a trading platform that's device agnostic, whether it's a desktop, a phone, a computer web interface, but maybe you're at your friend's house, who knows what. The problem is, to be able to deliver mobile type technology, NinjaTrader needs to develop server-side technology and deliver that through such a mechanism. But as an independent provider connecting to multiple brokerages and multiple brokerage technologies, we would have to connect to each one of those. We would then, wherever the data centers are, that is a daunting task. It's complex. There's cost, and it's more or less, from my perspective, not feasible to do that. And so what the acquisition of Mirus Futures allows us to do is start building that technology, because I can now say, okay, we have the brokerage and we have the technology, and we can now start building technology and connect it to our own brokerage, so that we can provide our customers a unified experience across any platform. So, for example, you're at home, you're using your desktop, you're placing trades, you've got an ATM strategy running. Now we're able to take that ATM strategy and move that from your client side. I'll just remind everybody, orders are at the exchange, but the ATM aspect of that, your multiple stops and targets, the logic that controls that runs on your NinjaTrader PC. We can now move that to the server so that you can shut down NinjaTrader and your ATM strategy is still running. Better yet, you can then walk down the street, pop open your phone, log in with the NinjaTrader web application, whatever it ends up being called, and have the same experience and see that ATM strategy running just as you would on your desktop. We haven't been able to do that as an independent platform, and now we're in a position where we can actually do that, which from my perspective is a high level of value and a reflection of how people are working and living today, and even more so in the future. We can move other features into the server, for example, things like simulation. Right now, as you all know, the simulator for NinjaTrader is running on your desktop. If you shut down NinjaTrader, you shut down the simulation. If we can move the simulation to the server, same thing. Turn NinjaTrader off, your orders are still being simulated, come back later, did it fill, did it not? No different than the live market. And so these are the things that I'm truly excited about, that acquiring a brokerage and allowing us to focus on delivering this type of technology is now a reality versus, on my list to figure out how to do for years and years. The other aspect I do want to mention is that there's other brokerage-related things that we can do from a technology standpoint to make the experience better for the client. So we can integrate right within the platform the ability for you to check your statements, download historical trade data. I'm not talking about trade data drive charts. I'm talking about your actual trades, and then run that through the NinjaTrader account performance. So you can run all the different statistics, slice and dice it. We can't do that today, where if for some reason you lost data on your computer, you have no way to get that historical trade data. We can now do that as a brokerage. We can integrate things like treasury or administrative functions into the platform. A lot of these things don't exist in the future space, although on the equity space, some of these things do exist. So that's the idea of bringing brokerage into the 21st century in the future space, is being able to provide higher levels of values across all aspects, whether it's commissions, service, technology, and that's what this acquisition is all about. So as a NinjaTrader Brokerage client, just a couple of points. You're rewarded with low-cost commissions, optimized single source for customer care. I just talked about NinjaTrader Mobile server-side ATM strategies when released. I'm sure this question will come up, so I'll answer it now. The question would be, when will this be released? I would be happy if we got some mobile stuff out with server-side ATM strategies next year sometime. We still offer complimentary daily market commentary service, priority access to free premium NinjaScript education. I talked about that earlier. Priority access when NinjaTrader 8 comes out, and then we actually have worked out a lot of discounts that are exclusive to NinjaTrader Brokerage customers from our ecosystem partners. So there's 2 slides left, and we can get into the Q&A. There's a few important questions here, and that I'd like to just ask and answer. So if you're already a NinjaTrader user, and I've talked about this in your forum, Mike, nothing changes in terms of the access that you have. We're not taking anything away. If you've got a multi-broker license today, a multi-broker lifetime, or even a subscription license, you have access to all of the technologies and brokerages that license supports now and in the future. Okay, so if you have, for example, a license for, this is just fresh in my head, if you have a license for Rhythmic today and you're going through brokerage XYZ, if you decide to change brokers to brokerage ABC and use Rhythmic, no problem. You have that license. If you decide that you want to switch that technology from Rhythmic to TT, that's Trading Technologies, send us an email. We will change that. Nothing has changed. We're not taking anything away. Will NinjaTrader still be free to use for analytics and trade simulation? Absolutely. Don't want to broker through us? No problem. Don't want to use us for live trading execution? No problem. Use NinjaTrader, connect it to any market data service we support, any brokerage we support. You can connect it, use it for as long as you want. We'll support you, just like we always have. Next question. You're thinking about using NinjaTrader. Do you have to open up a brokerage account with us? Absolutely not. You can continue to use you can decide to use NinjaTrader and use it through any of the brokerages that we support, which are listed at the site ninjatraderecosystem.com. And for existing clients that were with Mirus Futures or are with Mirus Futures, there's nothing for you to do. You can continue using your platform, whether it's NinjaTrader or if you're using some other platform that NinjaTrader historically competed with, no problem. You can continue using that. The idea here is we're not disrupting existing users. And the last slide I've got is relative to NinjaTrader 8. And Mike, I want to post in a link here. How would I do that?
On the GoToWebinar panel, there's a little box that says chat, but it will only be visible to the live attendees, not the recording. So what I can do is, or you can just post the link in the thread when you're done also.
Got it. Let me do this. So I just posted it. Hopefully you can see it. And basically, if you click on that link, we just posted a PDF that I think it's almost 50 pages long, which discusses in pretty good detail everything that you're going to see. It's called our major enhancements document. So there's over 500 new, I don't want to say features, but changes is probably the better word, 500 changes, itemized changes in NinjaTrader 8, and this document goes through and discusses the major points of change. We expect to launch beta here shortly. I will qualify that shortly. I would say here, by the end of this quarter, we would have it in beta. We're just at the tail end here with the chart still. And with that, I will open it up to you, Mike, for questions. Again, I'm here to answer questions on the NinjaTrader platform side, and Elliot can answer brokerage-related questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ray. So I've been taking notes here. There's already a lot of questions, so I've kind of consolidated the top 10 or so that multiple people are asking. Okay, so I know you just said it, but let's say it one more time. If you're an existing Mirus customer, you don't have to do anything. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Similar question. What if you're an existing Mirus customer, but you're not using NinjaTrader? Do you have to do anything then?
No.
Okay. Static DOM fees, are those changing, or how does that work?
No, nothing changes. Basically, for those customers who are using NinjaTrader through an FCM where they're collecting those fees, nothing changes. We still have relationships with those FCMs to collect those fees and pay that to us. In turn, we pay that to Trading Technologies. For those of you who want to or are using the static DOM through a broker, Interactive Brokers comes to mind, where they don't collect the fees, you still continue to use our TT transaction credit system through our brokerage. Again, it's your option. The default is that we do not provide the static DOM, but if you want to use it, you need to request it. And I should qualify that the number of users that use the static DOM have really declined over the years, Mike. I think right now it might be somewhere around 20%. So a lot of customers are actually using ChartTrader.
Okay. Yep. All right, and I'm just reading these questions, so I mean, I don't know if it's you or Elliot. I'll let you guys decide who answers. Inactivity fees if you are not active on your account. I guess that means like if you didn't place a trade.
Yeah, so there is a inactivity fee if you do not place at least one contract during the month and you've logged in. So if you don't log in during the month, you would not be charged, or if you trade at least one contract, then you would be exempt from that $25 inactivity fee.
Okay. Hey, Elliot, how you doing? All right, so if I understood correctly, so if I go on vacation and I don't log in to my chart, my data, if I don't get data for a month and I don't place a trade, but I still don't get charged. But if I'm not on vacation, if I'm looking at my charts and I am logged in and I'm getting the data, but I don't place a trade, then I do get charged. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Free trials with data. How does that work? I don't know if we're talking about platform or if we're talking about brokerage or both.
Sure. So there is a 2-week trial for someone who wants to try NinjaTrader with live data. There's a 2-week trial available on the website. That would be the extent of it. The exchanges prohibit us from giving extended demos. We've gotten a lot of requests for permanent demos and things like that.
Sure.
Those are just not available. It's a 2-week demo process.
Sure, absolutely. A lot of people asking about telephone support or wanting clarification on what exactly, like how to get telephone support or what the hours are for telephone support.
Yeah, good question. The nature and the way that our historical NinjaTrader platform clients have experienced support does not change, meaning it's always been electronic means inbound, meaning an email, fill out a form on our website, hit our forum, and the resolution to that is can come in any form. We can call people, we email them back, we remote support in. It really is dependent on the technician to determine the best way and the most expeditious way to resolve a customer inquiry.
Okay.
On the brokerage side, we have phone lines. They're on the website. We have the help desk. We have a one-ring policy. So if you need brokerage support, you call the number. So I think that should answer your question, Mike.
Okay. I think so. If not, I'm sure that they'll let me know. Several questions asking about stocks, options, and spot Forex capability.
So from the platform side, NinjaTrader has always supported future stocks in Forex. We actually support options in Brazil, just with a recent relationship, a strategic brokerage partner that we announced here a few weeks back. And we will continue to support that. So, for example, FXCM is one of our strategic partners on the platform side, and they will continue to be. And I've talked to them about what we're doing, and they're very supportive of that. So, if you want to trade Forex, we have outlets for you to do so. Stocks, Interactive Brokers, TD Ameritrade, MB Trading. I believe those are the three that we support for stocks. In terms of our brokerage supporting additional asset classes, right now we are only a futures brokerage, but everything is open, and I guess I'll leave it at that.
Okay, and let me add or ask a question about exchanges. What futures exchanges do you guys support right now?
We offer all the CME exchanges, NYMEX, COMEX, Board of Trade, CME, as well as ICE, New York Board of Trade, and Eurex.
And Eurex. Okay, I always see people asking for Eurex. All right, let me ask you about fees. A couple questions, one in clarification on whether or not there is a data fee. So I guess we need to clarify, like you guys, NinjaTrader has Kinetic, okay, but now you've got Brokerage, which used to be Zenfire. So help me understand. I mean, is the data going to come from the brokerage? Is it free? Can I still use Kinetic if I want some symbols or like, you know, market breadth symbols and tickers? How does all that work?
Sure. So with your live trading account, as someone who chooses the NinjaTrader Continuum solution, that live data, the cost of that live data is included in your commissions, or if you don't trade and log in, the inactivity fee. So I'm going to pass the microphone to Ray to talk about Kinetic, but you want to keep those separate. Kinetic is a separate service from someone who just has a live trading account using NinjaTrader Continuum, and there are no data fees that you will see applied to your account from there. Now, I do want to add the exchanges do have potential monthly data fees. So Ray mentioned early on in the presentation, CME has introduced this year a monthly market data fee that would apply to someone who has a new futures account or to everyone starting in January. So there's potential for waivers if you've had an account somewhere else when you transfer your account to NinjaTrader Brokerage. Eurex as well charges $23 a month, so that would be charged as well if you're getting access to Eurex. So that would be from a live trading account perspective, and I'll move it over to Ray to talk more about Kinetic.
All right. Yeah. So with Kinetic, that's our market data service. So, you know, why would you use that? There's several reasons. One would be you just want to use NinjaTrader. You're not using it through a brokerage, and you need market data to drive it. You know, we support our own feed, Kinetic. We support eSignal, but Kinetic is, built specifically for NinjaTrader, and it's much less expensive than the fees that eSignal charges. So I think eSignal base fee is, and don't quote me on this, but it might be somewhere close to $100. And our Kinetic market data service is $55. Another reason why you might want to use it is, let's say you trade futures, but you also want to follow equities markets. So you need to have an equities market data service to support your trading. So you can connect into our brokerage, you can connect into Kinetic simultaneously, and you've got market data for all the markets that you need to follow. And, you know, those are two good reasons. A lot of people use it to get, you mentioned it, Mike, market breadth information, tick, trend, things like that.
Right. Another
Another reason is backup. You know, feeds go down, right? So, you know, if you have a backup, and I think this is just a general, you know, policy every trader should have, is they should, you know, be prepared for outages, and having a backup data feed allows them to at least have something there in case they need to pop that on and still follow the markets.
Okay. All right.
Mike, if I can interrupt one other point there, for market internals like tick and trend, that is available through NinjaTrader Continuum as well. If you email brokerage support at ninjatrader.com, we can add that to the service if you're getting access through NinjaTrader Continuum. There is a cost to those. It's I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but approximately $5, $6, $7 per internal like that.
Okay.
Also, I mentioned the Eurex monthly data fees. Rhythmic is another option that we expect to have live here soon for NinjaTrader Brokerage clients, and that would not have a Eurex monthly fee.
Okay. All right. I am still having a little bit of trouble understanding some of this stuff, so let me ask some broad questions like, I mean, Mirrors used to have Zenfire, okay, and then Big Tick. So, and now you just mentioned Continuum. Help me understand what all these names are. And I mean, if I'm a customer of NinjaTrader's brokerage, does that mean I'm getting Continuum? Help me understand.
No problem, Mike. So, trying to think where the entry point for that answer is. So, Zenfire, okay, was a brand owned by Maris, which consisted of a trading network, an infrastructure that Maris hosted, in addition to software that provided the order routing and market data handling that was provided by Rhythmic. So just to wrap that up, so Maris took software from Rhythmic, they built their own data center, and they added some of their own internally developed risk tools and processes, and that was Zenfire, and that was what they had built and sold and promoted for many, many years. And for those of you who've been around for a while, you would know, you would be familiar with it. Big Tick was a project that Maris started to provide, again, the same software that they were licensing from Rhythmic, but building it in-house on proprietary network, and that was released late last year, and it was shelved. And so now what we have is NinjaTrader Continuum, which is a brand from CQG. CQG has been in the business of delivering market data, and as well as order routing services to hundreds of exchanges around the globe for 30 years. They're actually based in Denver, just down the street from where NinjaTrader is headquartered. We offer that. That's our default. So if you come and you want to open up a NinjaTrader Brokerage account, you get an account set up at our brokerage and logging into this Continuum from CQG. Rhythmic, you could say, is a direct competitor to CQG. And we did just negotiate terms with Rhythmic yesterday. We concluded, and that's getting set up now. So customers will also have, if they want, the option to use NinjaTrader through Rhythmic. I think that was
okay.
The question you answered, right?
Does that mean if I sign up with NinjaTrader Brokerage, I can choose Rhythmic or Continuum, or does it mean that NinjaTrader Brokerage is Continuum, but I could get Rhythmic if I went to another brokerage?
I'm sorry, if you went to another brokerage, is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, like, if I'm signing up for the first time with NinjaTrader Brokerage, does that mean that I have like a drop-down choice and I can select which feed that I want, Continuum or Rhythmic? Is that how that works?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct. At the time that you open up the account, if you want to use Rhythmic, you'd have to let us know. Otherwise, you would get NinjaTrader Continuum.
Okay. All right. Some questions here about the more broker stuff. So right now, you guys are a GIB, a guaranteed introducing broker from Dorman. And I think that on the thread you mentioned about you have plans to return to IIB independent status. And I guess that would probably mean that you're also looking at maybe adding back some other FCM relationships. Anything to add on any of that?
Yeah, so you are correct. NinjaTrader Brokerage is currently a guaranteed introducing broker to Dorman Trading. We understand the importance of having multiple FCM options. We're working on plans to enable that offering, but currently we are a guaranteed introducing broker to Dorman.
Okay. Some people asking about transfers in and out. So like some specific questions as to whether or not ACH transfers are supported in or out, or if it's only wire or check.
Only wire or check. Account transfers would also be possible, but ACH is not supported.
Okay. Questions about geography. In particular, a lot of people asking about British Columbia. Is there like a list somewhere people know whether or not their country is on the approved list?
Yeah, it's a good point that it is not posted on the website. British Columbia is not supported. Just regulation prohibits it. So we do not open up accounts from British Columbia, from Canada in general, but for the most part, the rest of the world is fairly open. Besides some countries that would not apply based on OFAC rules. I think Egypt and Iraq, Iran. We don't get a lot of accounts from there, so I'm trying to think of some of the other countries. But British Columbia is not covered.
And so, what's the best way for someone to find out? They email you or what?
Yeah, they can just email brokerage support@ninjatrader.com.
Okay. All right. I have just a few more on my list of consolidated questions, then I'll start picking out some specific questions. NinjaTrader 8, you mentioned a beta. Ray, could you clarify whether or not that is a private beta or a public beta?
We'll provide priority or preferential, I guess, to our brokerage clients first, and that's after, I guess I would say a private, not good customer, but customers that we know that have been with us for a long time and are like fat tails would
right.
come to mind.
Right.
People like that.
Yeah, I understood. Okay, but the intention is that the beta would be public, hopefully sometime by the end of this quarter, you said.
Yes, absolutely. We've always had public betas where we have pushed it out to everybody sooner than later. So
okay.
No, I don't see that being any different.
Okay. I saw a couple people asking, because back when you were talking about some of the server-side stuff you can do, a couple people chimed in with some questions. Does this mean that NinjaTrader as a client might look a little bit different? Like, for example, storage of tick data or minute data or market data on the server versus the client? Or another question was back testing, like if it would be possible to use server-side back testing at some point versus client-side.
No, so kind of a bit of mix of question there. The NinjaTrader experience in terms of usability, that's not going to change, and even independent of the server, NinjaTrader 8, as I've talked about before, although there's it's for the most part next generation, so there's a lot of rewrite of code. The usability and experience there is not going to be far different, if not the same, for people that are used to NinjaTrader 7. That being said, the storage of historical data, that is not going to change, in a sense that when you download data from the server, whether it's our own servers or somebody else's servers, we store that data locally so that on subsequent loads it doesn't have to go retrieve that data across the internet again. So nothing changes there. In terms of server-side functionality, what I mean by that is things that we can take that run in the desktop that could be pushed to the server that would provide a more solid experience. ATM strategies is an easy one, because if you've got, for example, your trailing stop working, market data comes in to your NinjaTrader client, it calculates, it raises your stop price. If we can move that to the server, there's a couple of advantages. One, that stop is going to move quicker because it doesn't have that market data delay, between the server and the NinjaTrader client at your house or wherever you happen to be, right? So we reduce latency of that action. And then B, if you shut down NinjaTrader, whether you do it on purpose or your internet dies, that ATM strategy is still running. No different than the age-old, hey, where's my, you have server-side OCOs, right? It's the same kind of thing. It's just moving that to the server. The idea of server-side backtesting, I can say this because this is more of just discussion than it is any promise or guarantee. What we have the ability to look at now is, hey, what can we do about running strategy server-side? That's a possibility. I can't say it's a probability because I don't know the implications, and we haven't had any serious discussions other than, hey, that's something that we'll look into. The server-side ATMs, the simulation, easy stuff. Another example, in NinjaTrader 8, we're going to be releasing support for MIT orders. That's market if touched orders. You know, right now, a lot of brokerage technologies, I should say, don't support that. So what we have to do is simulate that order type on the client or on the NinjaTrader desktop. We can take that and move that into the server as well and have the MIT order type, which a lot of people have requested us to incorporate over the years. So hopefully that provides just some more color on what I meant by server-side stuff, as well as you know, just some color on the NinjaTrader 8.
Okay. Okay, I'm still consolidating some questions. Several people asking about co-location dedicated or virtual private servers. Are they still available?
We have those available through our brokerage, although we don't promote it. I believe a lot of you who have that probably go through one of our partners, Speedy Trading Servers, or Sam's, is it Sam 028, right?
Yeah.
So I guess my point simply is, you know, we're not at this moment marketing it because it's not a business that we've said, hey, let's make a concerted effort. And for now, I would refer you to Sam. You know, he, I think, does a really good job, and he's got a lot of our clients over there, and that's his domain expertise. So, and I'm sure he likes the plug.
Yeah. Okay. I still see some confusion, so let's cover this one more time. So if somebody opens a new brokerage account that comes with real-time futures data free of charge, Elliot, can you tell us, like, what do I get for free with a funded brokerage account that I don't have to pay for, just so we can try to answer all these questions, like what exchanges are included out of the box?
Okay, so if again, if it's there is a little bit of confusion, because if you're saying it's a new account, technically you would not be grandfathered in for CME market data rules, so you would have these new CME market data monthly fees that would apply.
Okay.
So
that has nothing to do with you guys. That's a CME. Right.
That's a CME thing. That will be true with any brokerage that you choose. And so that I want to make clear is not specific to NinjaTrader Brokerage or to Dorman. That is across the board. If you're a new brokerage account, these CME market data rules would apply. And those fees are $5 per each of their 4 exchanges: CME, CBOT, NYMEX, and COMEX. If you do all 4, they consider that a bundled rate, and it goes down to $15 per month. Same for Eurex. If you're using Continuum, then there is a $23 a month fee from Eurex. Rhythmic does not charge that monthly fee, so if you're using NinjaTrader on Rhythmic, then you would not be paying that monthly fee for Eurex. In terms of taking the exchange piece out, just talking about what you would get with a funded active brokerage account, you would have a live feed from Continuum, assuming that is the data that you choose. You would have access as a default to CME. If you would like ICE, you can request that. And if you want Eurex, you can request that as well. The reason we don't automatically permission you for Eurex is we don't want you to get hit for the $23 monthly fee unless you specifically want that exchange.
Okay.
You would not get the market internals that we talked about, tick and trend. Those would have to be also specifically requested.
Got it.
Because they come with additional charges.
Okay. Just so everybody knows, I am currently reading questions from 23 minutes ago. So guys, please don't duplicate your questions over and over, because it just makes it harder. All right. Talking about funded account, what is the minimum to open an account?
So the minimum to open an account is $1,000.
Okay.
And the margins are available on the website at NinjaTraderBrokerage.com. You can see all of the margins. A lot of people ask about the mini S&P, which is $500 per per contract, but obviously each market, depending on the liquidity of that market and the volatility of that market, as well as the value of that contract, it may be different. Gold is higher, CL
Right.
is higher,
Okay.
but the major contracts would be at 500.
Okay. Are you guys operating based on a percentage of the full margin, or is it just like a internal day margin decision that you're setting?
Yeah, it's just a set template. It is not based on a percentage.
Okay.
These were all cleared through Dorman Trading. They had to approve the
Right.
template. That's
Okay.
the template we have in place, and those are available contract by contract on the website.
Got it. Okay. Several people asking about what was formerly known as NinjaTrader, the web front end. What happens with that, or does that get transitioned, or is that part of NinjaTrader 8? What can you tell us?
Yeah, I can answer that question. The answer is the NinjaTrader was part of the Big Tick project, which we have since shelved. So we will be releasing at least the plan right now is an HTML5 NinjaTrader. We don't have a name for it, but it's going to be a trading platform. That mirrors a lot of the functionality that you see on the NinjaTrader desktop. We've been working on parts of that NinjaTrader independent of Mirrors for quite some time, and so we would anticipate that we would release something. Again, I think I was hoping and be happy if it was next year. That's not a promise nor a guarantee. That's just my hope at this time. There is a possibility we might release an interim product, not by our own design, but I know, and I briefly touched base with CQG on this. They have a HTML5. Something popped up. Okay, an HTML5 interface. I think it's called iBroker or something like that. I don't know all the details, but there might be something that we would put out in the interim, but that's not decided at this time.
Okay. Some people asking for a little bit of clarification on licenses. Let me first ask you: is there any cost to upgrade to NinjaTrader 8?
Absolutely not.
Okay, and then clarification, because you have 3 different pricing tiers on the website for your commissions, based on a lifetime license owner, a rental or a lease subscription, or, correct me if I'm wrong, no license, or a direct edition. So the first question, I guess, from this guy is, can he have I guess you call it a simulator license, like a non-live license, but can he still get a trial with real-time live data?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And that direct edition, is that something like, does that mean that if I sign up with NinjaTrader Brokerage that I can get that version of the platform without paying, or what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly what that means. So in short, we have a basic version of NinjaTrader called Direct Edition. It's limited in that it doesn't have OCO orders, doesn't have ATM strategies, doesn't have hotkeys, no chart trader. There's a number of other things, no back testing, running automated systems. So if it's just basic chart, not even basic charting, it's actually a full charting. There's just no chart trader. So if you don't want to use any of those features I just specified, you can use that version, and then your commission rate would be at $4.22 a round turn for most contracts.
Okay. I see a question about the emergency trade desk. Someone says that if you have 24-hour support, Dorman doesn't. So how does that work?
We actually have our own staffed order desk, which has been true historically as well. I don't want to speak on Dorman's behalf what they do over the night hours, but we have a 24-hour staffed order desk.
Okay. If somebody previously had a funded account with Mirrors Futures, but at some point closed that account and now they want to reopen the account, what do they need to do?
As long as their account was active in the last 12 months, all they would have to do is refund the account. If they need information like funding instructions, their account number, things like that, if they would just need to reconnect with our brokerage support team at brokeragesupport@ninjatrader.com. But as long as it was active in the last 12 months, all they would have to do is refund the account. If it was not active in the last 12 months, or they're a new customer, they would just need to start with the online account application.
Okay. Just a comment for Ray. I continue to see a lot of people talking about telephone support, and here's one in particular that says that you should make telephone support more visible on your website because it's one of the primary reasons that he has not used NinjaTrader in the past.
Appreciate the input.
I guess he means he didn't know that it was available. Some questions about data with continuous contracts or contract rollover. Can you talk about how that would work with your brokerage? I'm talking specifically about charting.
Okay. I guess the way that if we're just talking about when the front month comes in and the expires, how that's handled, I guess it's no different than how it's always been handled in the NinjaTrader platform. You have to go in and change the instrument. Like what is the front month right now for the S&P? It's ES09-14 is the symbology we use. When that rolls over to ES 1214, we send out a notification to our customers that it's rollover time with instructions on how to roll over. So it doesn't change. It's independent of the brokerage, I guess is my point. I can make a comment, and I believe this is even in that PDF enhancements that we just shared with you all. With NinjaTrader 8, we have added a auto rollover feature. What happens is when there is rollover, there's a feature that you can use that will show you all of the contracts that are ready to roll over. And if you accept to roll them over, you press OK, and every instance of that instrument throughout your workspace and Windows and workspaces will automatically update to the new rollover. So that's a NinjaTrader 8 convenience feature we've added.
Okay. Some questions about historical data. With Continuum, or I guess with any available option, can you tell us what historical data a user would get?
Oh, sure. I guess with Continuum, I guess I'll say it a different way. If you're using Continuum, CQG, or Rhythmic, you will get data from NinjaTrader historical data servers. I don't know the exact length of the data or the depth of the data. In some cases, it can be 8 years. In some cases, it might be a year. The reason I say that is we have many of these servers, and they're not all synced up to have the identical depth of data. I can say this has always been the case, and nobody's ever complained that, hey, I don't have enough data. But we don't really. Oh, actually, hold on a sec. I remember we changed that policy a while back. So I think it might be 12 months of historical tick in minute, or maybe even 2 years. I mean, it's at a point where nobody's ever complained about the amount of data.
Okay.
I can comment with NinjaTrader 8. I know this is something that the community's always been interested in. We will be storing historical tick data down to the .net tick. That's I think it's 100 nanoseconds. I might be wrong. Don't hold me to that, but it's really granular. A, and then B, we will also store the bid and ask price at the time of the trade. So each historical tick record has a bid and ask price associated to it. Thus,
right.
For those of you who do cumulative delta analysis or things like that, you'll be able to grab that data from us.
Right. So it's stored not only real time with persistency, but also if I open my chart an hour late, it could be backfilled. Is that right?
That's exactly right, Mike.
Okay, yeah, good to see that. Some questions about opening a new account if they're trading through a corporation. Should they do anything different? Do you have like a different person or just the same email account?
Yeah, same email account. You know, individual U.S. accounts open up very quickly. When you get into LLC and corporate accounts, commodity pools and those types of accounts, there's usually a little bit more back and forth because we may need additional documentation once we see the LLC documents or the corporate documents. So there may be a little bit more back and forth just to set the expectation, but it all goes through the new accounts team.
Okay. Can you say, one of the things that Zenfire, always advertised was that it was unfiltered data. Is Continuum unfiltered data?
Absolutely, Mike.
Okay. Is there any plans for Kinetic to support ICE?
No, there's no plans, and I can just speak to that real quickly. Basically, to support ICE, we need to spend or pay ICE, and I can't remember the exact number. $1,500 a month, $2,500 a month. It's some figure in that area per month, and the reality is there just isn't nowhere near the demand from our Kinetic users to have ICE. There is demand, but nowhere near enough that would justify that expense, because you have to remember, $50 a month, that's not our cost, that's our revenue, and there's a cost associated to that.
Right.
And you have to have a lot of ICE users just to break even on that, and there just was nowhere near the demand. So we have no plans to add that to Kinetic.
Okay, and so there's not even like an a la carte option where the individual trader is paying the fee?
Correct. No, because
Right.
we have to be a data vendor with ICE, and that's where that monthly fee comes in. So there's just no way around it.
Okay. All right. So I think I'm finally starting to get to some of the specific questions. JJ wants to know the fees are the fees all-in fees? Are there any surprise fees?
So those commission rates are per round turn, and they are all in. You'll see that the additional 10 cents per contract, 20 cents per round turn for those that choose to use the static dome. We talked about the inactivity fee if you log in but don't get executed on at least one contract, and then the monthly market data fees. But when you're talking about just commissions, it would be the only additional would be the 10 cents per contract or 20 cents per round turn for use of the static dome.
Okay.
And that would be I'm talking about for the Continuum.
Okay.
NinjaTrader Continuum.
So if I use the dynamic ladder, then that wouldn't exist.
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Yu wants to know, can he run NinjaTrader 7 and NinjaTrader 8 simultaneously side by side?
The answer is yes, but I will qualify or re-ask the question. Can I use NinjaTrader 7 and 8 side by side? Yes. Can I use them side by side and connect to the same brokerage? The answer is likely no, because NinjaTrader itself doesn't control. That's not something. It's a brokerage technology question, and one that would need to be asked to them. But NinjaTrader application will run side by side 7 and 8.
Okay. How about for NinjaTrader Brokerage? Can I get 2 logins?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I can't answer that only because I just don't know, which is a good question, and be happy to provide an answer at a later date. But Rhythmic, I believe he can have multiple logons, and Continuum, I don't recall.
Okay. All right, I'm skimming questions here. So just so everybody knows, I'm currently reading questions from about 30 minutes ago. Armando wants to know if the Kinetic cost of, is it $50 or $55 per month, does that include all asset classes, stocks, Forex, futures, or is it only futures?
The $55 a month is the, let's say, the fee that you pay for this service. From there, you have to select what exchanges you want, and different exchanges obviously have different prices. And there might be, I don't recall because I have not looked at that pretty elaborate menu of different exchanges and options. I don't recall if there's some other fee if you want to turn on international exchanges or not. But generally speaking, you pay the $55. That's, let's say, your service fee, and then you pay the exchange fees, whether it's equities or futures. It's a la carte.
Okay. Carl wants to know if he can place orders. I think he's asking, can he simultaneously use NinjaTrader and CQG Trader or CQG Web Trader? Will an order show up on both sides? Can he start an order with Ninja and then close Ninja and then manage that order from CQG Web Trader?
They would need to be enabled for those platforms. So like CQG Trader does come with an additional fee. So you would need to be enabled for that as well as for NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader does not come with an additional fee for access to that platform specifically, but some of the other platforms would.
Okay. JJ wants to know, with a NinjaTrader 8, can he, I believe he's asking, can he specify a particular account in order to send an order through for order routing? I guess he's talking, let's say he has a multi-broker license. Can he pick which broker a particular strategy would execute through?
Absolutely. So that just is defined by the account number, meaning if you connect to NinjaTrader Brokerage, you connect to TD Ameritrade, you connect to Interactive Brokers all simultaneously with a multi-broker license, what you will see in any order entry screen or where you start a strategy is all of the available accounts in aggregate across all those connections. You would just pick whatever account you want to route the order to and trade away.
Okay. Okay, so this question has come up a few times. There are some brokers that were previously listed and are no longer listed. Any comment on that, Ray, to settle that?
Sure. Are you talking about the why did you limit NinjaTrader to a specific set of brokers? I mean, I guess that's the question.
There's been a lot of people asking these questions just to do with basically, well, let me reframe the question. I'll try to cover everybody's question at one time. So there's been some people in the webinar asking, what does this do to the industry as far as competition? How do you think other brokers will perceive you? That's been one question. Another question was, there used to be more brokers on your website than there are now. And then I'm sorry, I have to scroll through to try to find the others, but I guess start with those.
I get the general question. I think it comes back, there's a number of different aspects to the answer, and one is back to my perception of where the industry is going, the retail futures industry, and the landscape, and the consolidation that's underway. I think that in the long run, the marketplace for brokerages is going to be smaller than it is now. I don't know if that's 1 year or 2 years, but moves are already taking place that's going to happen. That's one aspect of the answer. The other aspect of the answer is we've had strategic partners, brokers. Mirus is one of them. AMP is another one of them. AMP is still listed on our website, and we have a lot of other brokers that have not been our partners. I won't even say partners. There's hundreds of brokers that have NinjaTrader available. And what's important to understand is that although they're available, that doesn't mean that they have been championing or promoting NinjaTrader. In fact, for the most part, or majority of them, what happens is they advertise that NinjaTrader is available, and when the lead comes in or a prospect inquires, hey, I saw you have NinjaTrader, they don't necessarily put them on NinjaTrader. They may put them on a platform, a different competitive platform to NinjaTrader that suits their purposes better, whatever that might be. And so my point is, we have our strategic partners, and Mirus obviously we acquired, and then AMP is still on our website, and we're working with AMP on what the future may be.
Okay.
So, I guess what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the landscape is changing. We want to make sure that we're still relevant in the years to come, which I believe is a service, to our clients, our ecosystem partners, our employees. And in order to do that, we felt that this was the right move for us. I don't think it's reasonable to say that, we're doing something that's really going to cause a hardship on one aspect of the industry. I think that's just something that's already been underway, and it's not easily seen, but when you're in the industry, on my side of things and talking to a lot of industry professionals, it's just something that's already occurring, and at the end of the day, we are now competitors with these brokers that I mentioned that necessarily weren't championing NinjaTrader, and I guess that's just the way of business.
Okay. Jim says that on the website you have a list of platforms, other platforms that are supported, and there's a particular platform that's not listed anymore that used to be supported. It's Sierra Chart. Does that mean that it's not supported, or just didn't make the website?
It just hasn't made the website. We're still working our way through conversations. There are additional platforms that are available, and certainly the focus will be on NinjaTrader. The commission rates that are all outlined, everything is based on your NinjaTrader license,
right?
So obviously that's where our focus will be. But current customers that are on other platforms will be able to continue to use the platform that they choose, and those other platforms are still available to new customers, but we're trying to give every compelling reason to take a look at NinjaTrader and see the benefits.
Okay. I had a question that I thought of earlier, Ray. I mean, TradeStation, they're a big name, and they have their own brokerage, and then TT, they've got not a brokerage, but they've got their data feed, and then they've got their platform. And I kind of see like NinjaTrader is almost like similar but different. How do you see what you're doing as similar or different than what those two guys, they're big names in the industry, what they're doing? Because TT has been talking about server side stuff lately, and you just mentioned a lot of server side stuff that you want to do. And TradeStation has a brokerage, which you guys have now. So how do you see where you fit in with all that?
That's a good and very interesting question. TT, well, I think they even came and did a webinar for you. So they've got a new platform. What was it called? NextTrader?
NextTrader, yeah.
I think it's called NextTrader. Okay. And here's an interesting thing. So they built that platform on HTML5, and I don't think I really talked too much about HTML5, but if you allow me, HTML5 is a way that you can build an application that runs in a web browser. And so TT decided that was the direction you're going to go. That is the direction we are going to go, which is to say that we're going to build a mobile application using HTML5, and what that allows us to do is run the trading application in a browser. So whether that browser sits on your computer or on your tablet, on your Android phone or your Apple iPhone, it doesn't matter, because it can run, because they both, all those devices support browsers. The opposite approach would be that you write specifically to the Android OS an application, then you write specifically to the iOS, which is the iPhone operating system. So you've got two code bases there, two different code streams to manage. it's not that efficient. So using HTML5 allows you to, in a sense, write one and target multiple devices. And so how do I compare it to TT? Well, I think that from a technology standpoint, the decision they made just validates kind of the direction that I wanted to take our technology, and it makes me feel good that, oh, hey, others are doing and thinking the same thing. Where we differ is, their primary customer base is institutions and, the high volume traders. I think just because a lot of those guys come off the floor and they, a lot of the people here in Chicago. But what they do as well is they connect directly to the exchanges. So they, connect to the exchanges. They then have their middleware, or the middle layer that also provides all the risk tools for brokers, and then they provide the front end. NinjaTrader has always only been the front end. Now we're going to get into the middleware. We have no intentions of writing software to the exchanges. That's a lot of work, and there's a lot of exchanges, and you can easily connect your middleware to somebody like TT. So in essence, they can compete. At the same time, they potentially could be a partner, where we're using their pipes to get order flow and market data to all the different exchanges. So that's kind of our comparison contrast with TT. On the trading, or on the TradeStation side, from a technology standpoint, at a very high level, we have all the same things, right? We have the charts, we have the they call it radar screen, we call it market analyzer. They've got easy language, we've got NinjaScript. Our NinjaScript, as a lot of you here in the development side know very well, it's not apples. We're modern, standards-based, event-driven programming model, where easy language is proprietary language and been around for quite some time. But where we have similarities is, some of you may not even know this, TradeStation has been around, don't quote me on this, but I want to say since the early 80s, called Omega Research, founded by two brothers, the Cruz brothers. And through the 80s and a good part of the early 90s, they were one of the leading, I won't even call it a trading platform because it wasn't a trading platform at the time, a charting and analysis and back testing and systems development platform, and they made a decision, I can't remember the exact year, but sometime in the mid to late 90s to become a brokerage. And so there's definitely parallels in that timeline in terms of starting off as a software company and morphing into a brokerage. That's the same path that we're on. They've been very successful. But they started off more on the equity side of things, and that's their primary business. But they do have futures and they do have forex, and we're starting off dominant on the futures side, but we do have equities, and we as a platform as well as forex as a platform. And on the brokerage side, as you had asked, we keep that open. Are we going to expand and become a securities broker dealer? That's not out of the question. Are we going to be a forex brokerage? Not out of the question. Does that answer your question, Mike?
Yes, and I believe that I'm correct that TradeStation doesn't allow any other brokerage or data other than TradeStation. So if I'm right with that, that would also be another big difference, right?
I appreciate you bringing that up point up. Absolutely. Our model is a little more distributed, right, than TradeStation, where it's completely they're an island. You can only use TradeStation there, and that's to me kind of the point we were trying to make earlier, where existing NinjaTrader clients, nothing has changed for them. They can continue to use their license. They can change the technology, or broker technology at will. We're not taking that away. We honor that, and then even going forward, although the brokerage support is refined, we still provide choice where it's complementary to our own ambitions in the future of brokerage business.
Okay. All right, let's see how many more questions we can get through. JJ wants to know if you can help him understand why more brokers don't support ACH withdrawals.
It's really a question for the clearing firm since they're the ones that hold the money. But my understanding from the clearing firms we've spoken to, there is the ability to pull back money once you send money through an ACH, meaning a customer could send $50,000 to the clearing firm and pull that money back days later, and the clearing firm sees that as a risky prospect. So
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Very few offer the ACH.
Got it. Okay. All right. Let's see. A lot of people want you to add British Columbia. If you didn't already know that, which I'm sure that you did.
Yeah, if I can just speak on that, it's not a decision for us or for even really for Dorman. The FCMs in the U.S. Have really, I don't want to go so far as to say they're not allowed because I believe a couple of FCMs may allow it, but there's been a lot of Canadian regulatory issues that have scared off all of Canada and British Columbia, the clients from opening up accounts in the U.S. So it's not just a NinjaTrader Brokerage question, really.
Right. Okay. If somebody has an account with another broker that is a independent broker of Dorman and their money is held at Dorman, what do they need to do if they want to switch to you guys?
So if they have an account with another IB, whether that's at Dorman or any other clearing firm, makes no difference. If they have not had an active account at Mirus over the last 12 months, they would need to start with the new account application.
Okay, got it. All right. Currently reading questions from 4:15 or from about almost 40 minutes ago, guys. Just so everybody knows. Is there a cost to use Rhythmic?
That's still to be determined. As Ray mentioned, we do anticipate releasing Rhythmic here very soon in the next couple of weeks, but details have not been worked out yet.
Okay. Shane says that he would love to see the option to run server-side strategies. I can't pronounce.
Is that a question or just
no,
a
it's
comment?
Just a comment, I think. I can't pronounce his name, sorry, but mobile app support. Basically, the question is, are you guys going to have a mobile app, and does that mobile app, is it limited to charts, or can they actually do something? Can they close a trade or open a trade?
Yeah, so this goes back to the discussion of HTML5 application. The general idea, and we haven't on the application side, not the server side, but the application side, we haven't started development of a NinjaTrader HTML5 application. Again, the fact that it's HTML5 would allow it to run in a phone, on a tablet, on your computer, or on any device that can run a browser. And so to further qualify what I'm saying, the idea or the intention is that we want to build a trading platform in HTML5 that mirrors NinjaTrader. What I mean by mirrors is that the experience that you have on the desktop is, I'm just going to use the word similar, right, to the experience that you have on the phone. There's going to be limitations for sure, because I don't see how people are going to be doing backtesting on a phone, at least not in the foreseeable future. I don't see that being practical. Right. But charting, sure, that makes a lot of sense. So that's something we would want to implement as part of an HTML5 app. What we call our market analyzer, so a souped-up quote board.
I actually the ability to be able to close a trade away from your desk, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I mean, that to me is that's just kind of expected. So sorry, I might have kind of written that off. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I see a couple people asking for clarification on why they would need kinetic versus continuum, and I know you already covered it, but maybe this warrants some type of a web page that kind of tells them what they get with Kinetic. Just a comment.
Okay.
Another name that I can't pronounce, guys, I'm so sorry, but I am terrible with names, so don't get offended, please. But when will Rhythmic be launched?
In the next week to two.
Okay.
Or sooner. I think sooner, but I just say that we're things have already been set up, and we're just running through some testing and stuff right now.
Okay. So I'm just scrolling through all the questions. A lot of them have been answered, so give me 1 second.
I'm just curious, Mike, how many people today?
A little bit over 300 in the webinar.
Got it.
Here's a question. Why would I choose Continuum or Rhythmic versus the other? So I guess why one versus the other? Is there one that's better than the other, or why would one choose one versus the other?
I think ultimately it's probably flavor choice. What do you
Coke
prefer?
versus Pepsi.
That being said, yeah, exactly. I mean, there are some, like Elliot had mentioned, Eurex. With Rhythmic there is no $23 exchange fee, where with CQG Continuum there is. That might be one reason.
Okay.
Another reason, if you're in Australia, for example, I don't believe Rhythmic has a POP there, where CQG has, I think it's 5 or 6 data centers. One Chicago, London, Frankfurt, Singapore. Maybe it's 4. I thought there was a 5th one. Point of that is that if you're somewhere in Australia, you'll probably want to connect into their Singapore data center versus Chicago.
Right.
That's a latency thing,
right,
and stuff like that.
Okay, so for all of the guys that are outside of the States, which is going to be a lot of people, should they just email you guys to find out about that kind of stuff, about the points of presence, to see if one would be better than the other?
Yeah, absolutely. They can, I think, send an email to brokeragesales@ninjatrader.com. But again, the Continuum is the default. That's what you get. You do have to request
Okay.
Rhythmic.
Eric wants to know if Sydney futures or Asian exchanges are supported.
No, they are currently not. That may be opened up in the future, but currently those are not available.
If I could add there, Elliot answered that question from a brokerage perspective, but from a platform perspective, those are supported as long as the broker you use are supported. So I believe Interactive Brokers, for example, supports those exchanges, so you can still use NinjaTrader platform and use Interactive Brokers as your brokerage.
Okay. Michael wants to know if you can get more specific on the 12-month cutoff with regards to having a previous account with Mirrors Futures. 12 months from what date exactly? Is it July 1st?
It's actually, there isn't an actual date. In talking to Dorman about previous accounts coming back, we just said approximately 12 months. If they were active in the last 12 months, they'll be fine with just refunding the account. I'm sure if someone's at 13 months, I would use the July 1st date as the date to go back from. But okay. I'm sure if it's 13 months, it's probably still fine. But it's okay. Approximately 12 months.
Got it. So again, they should email for specific info on that, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, we just want to make sure it's still set up and active in the back office at the clearing firm. If it is, they would not need to repaper.
Okay. Adrian says he has a direct addition through another broker right now, and he wants to know, can he get another direct addition license with the NinjaTrader Brokerage?
Yes.
Okay. I still see a couple questions. So just to clarify, if someone is already at Dorman, but they were not with Mirrors, it makes no difference. They still have to apply for a new account, right? There's no phone call that just makes it all good.
Yeah, unfortunately not. If they did not previously have an account with Miris over the last, again, active in approximately the last 12 months,
Okay.
they would need to start with the new account application.
Okay.
And you can find it on the NinjaTrader Brokerage.com website, top right corner. It's a pretty easy process, and we'll get through the account opening process as quickly as possible.
Okay. And that can all be done online, right?
Yes.
Okay.
For most accounts, right.
Got it. Okay. This is a good question. Does the brokerage help desks speak languages other than English? He didn't specify which one he would prefer, just
Sure.
other than English.
We do have support in Russian and as well as Spanish. There are some other languages. Obviously, Ray mentioned some international partners in Brazil, in Hong Kong that may have additional language support.
Okay. Here's a good one. What about somebody that had an account with Miris, but it was not through Dorman, for example, it was RCG? They also have to, same thing, right? They would have to apply?
Yes, if they were not part of the bulk transfer over to Dorman, they would need to start with the new account application.
Okay.
What you can do, if it depends on the type of account that you're opening, but if you had an account through RCG with us that you're going to open up the same type of account and it requires sending in your ID or your LLC documents, just let them know that you had an account with us previously. We should have all that on file so that we can make the opening account process a little easier.
Okay, got it. TX Trade wants to know if ICE is included through Continuum.
Yes, it is included in the default. Eurex is not.
Okay, so there's, just to clarify, there's not an additional exchange fee for ICE with Continuum.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. I'm not sure. I think this is a question from a broker. He says, can new introducing brokers cooperate with you? So any kind of blanket statement, or is that best left to a private conversation?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that question is related to branch office or related to looking for a sales role within the NinjaTrader Brokerage. Best to send an email in and have a private conversation.
Okay. All right, filtering some more questions for the ones that have already been answered. Give me 1 second. I'm currently reading questions from 30 minutes ago. We're making a little bit of progress. Hopefully you guys still have time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, here's a NinjaTrader 8 question. Jonathan wants to know, has anything changed with NinjaTrader 8 regarding market replay downloads? I think he's specifically asking for multiple instruments and multiple time frames.
Right. The answer is specific to that question is no, but I'll offer up two. I don't know if these are alternatives. There is a service, a free service that one of our partners, ecosystem partners, provides a multiple, market download file. I wish I knew the name off the top. We got so many partners, that's why I can't remember. You can always send an email and support. I think it's platform support at NinjaTrader.com, and ask who the partner is if you can't easily find it at NinjaTraderEcosystem.com. But there is a service out there that takes and aggregates files, and you can then download multiple files at a time. The other thing, and that's actually not specific to NinjaTrader 8. That's available for NinjaTrader 7. But with NinjaTrader 8, we did put a new feature into Market Replay, so you can replay from a market replay file. We actually renamed market replay to playback, and the reason for that is you can play back a market replay file, or you can play back historical tick data. So if you don't have access to market replay data for whatever reason, you have access to historical data, you can just play that back. Obviously, it's not as granular, but it's still better than no playback.
Mal wants to know, does NinjaTrader 8 support the Trading Technologies fix adapter, which should already be there in NinjaTrader 7, right?
That is correct, and the answer is yes and yes.
Okay. John wants to know, is NinjaTrader doing anything to encourage other brokers that are not currently supporting Ninja to provide that support? He says in particular Alpari.
I guess the answer to that, if I think the broader question, we, NinjaTrader, are always looking to enter into strategic partnerships where we can distribute the platform in a manner that we otherwise couldn't do it. So geography-based, a good example is Clear Corretera. I might be saying that wrong, but that's the Brazilian brokerage, or the #1 and largest brokerage in Brazil focused on the active retail trader. So we did a deal with them and released it here a few weeks ago. Obviously, we don't have reach into that market, and they do, and they focus on traders that trade the Bovespa exchange, which is the exchange in Brazil. We did a deal with a company out in Hong Kong for mainland Chinese traders. That's in development right now, so we're not ready to disclose the name of the partner. We've actually been in talks with several firms in India for doing a market data / NinjaTrader platform distribution. So that's one area, geographical in nature. The other is asset class. Actually we are talking to a brokerage firm, a securities broker dealer right now, to work on a potential partnership to have NinjaTrader route orders to this equities dealer. So I guess hopefully that answers your question. Simply put, we're always looking to explore and expand our distribution through brokerages that are complementary to our own efforts here in the States.
Okay. Dimitri has a good question, I think. He says right now he has a single broker lifetime license. This license for CQG, can he, if he becomes a customer of NinjaTrader Brokerage, can he add Continuum to that, or would he have to get a new license?
He'd have to, if you want to add, so meaning if you want to have the redundancy, so the brokerage with CQG and a brokerage through us, you need to have a multi-broker license to be able to connect to multiple brokerages at the same time.
Okay, I may have misunderstood his question. He may only be saying that he wants the CQG data feed as well as the Continuum data feed, which here's my ignorance. I thought it was the same thing.
It is exactly the same thing.
Okay, all right. Rick wants to know well, never mind on that one. You've already covered. Let's see. Martha wants to know if you work with interactive brokers, which you do. Okay.
Yes.
We're actually getting towards the end of the questions. Jim wants clarification on Canada. He says, are there other provinces in Canada that are excluded?
No, not currently.
Okay, so pretty much Canada is out.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case.
Okay.
When we think through strategic partners, certainly, as Ray mentioned, with different geographic regions, that's an area that we certainly want to focus on and try to find a strategic partner there.
Okay. Bob says he has a multi-broker license right now, and he has an account with a broker, then a sub-account. I think the main account is probably CQG, main account is Rhythmic, sub-account is CQG. There we go. He wants to know, can he also add a third account with NinjaTrader Brokerage, or would that be an additional cost?
From a technology, from the platform side, the answer would be you cannot use a multi-broker license. If you already have a multi-broker license and you're connecting in to CQG, then you have another connection into Rhythmic. You cannot then have a third connection, which is either CQG or Rhythmic. And let me see if I can even simplify that. You can't have multiple connections for the same technology for Rhythmic or for CQG/Continuum simultaneously. So there's a limitation there from a technology standpoint. From a brokerage standpoint, you can have, obviously as many brokerages as you can, or brokerage accounts as you want. So you in essence have to, and this is obviously not practical, but I'm just saying this for demonstrative purposes. If you connect to, if you have NinjaTrader Brokerage with Continuum, and you have another brokerage with CQG, and you connect to CQG Brokerage, you cannot connect to NinjaTrader Brokerage. You'd have to disconnect from the CQG Brokerage and then connect to the NinjaTrader Brokerage.
Okay. A
little confusing, but hopefully that
does any of that change in NinjaTrader 8? I remember we talked about it, but I don't remember what your answer was.
I can't remember. It's possible because technically the adapters, this is a little technical, but they run in a separate process. Thus, I think the answer is yes. Now, it's a little vague to me, but since they run in separate processes, we can have multiple processes for each API connection. Thus, you can have multiple. You can connect to CQG and also connect to Continuum/CQG at our brokerage. So I guess the answer would be yes.
Raymond says he has a previously funded dormant account and he wants to add money to it to refund. Is it a new account number, or can he just send money like he did originally?
He can just send money the same way he had previously, okay. If you need any help through that process in terms of getting the funding instructions, confirming your account number, anything like that, just email our brokerage support team.
Okay. We're almost at the end of the questions. Avin wants to know, does NinjaTrader 8 include some type of a look inside back testing feature, basically a more granular way to look at a bar? And I know the answer is yes, but Ray, do you want to talk about how that works?
Sure, absolutely. I think in that link that we posted earlier, somewhere in that 50-page document, it talks about that. But basically, there's a couple of things that we've done. One is if you're back testing, let's just say 5-minute bars. The default option will run through each bar and create virtual bars within each minute bar. You don't see this, obviously. I'm just telling you how the algorithm works, right? So for each bar, it will create 3 bars, the open to high, for example, the open to low, and then the low to close. And the bar is built depending on the distance between the high to the open will determine whether it goes from open to high first or open to low first. But basically, it simulates the price travel movement through the bar. Thus, when we're doing the actual back test, that information is used to determine fill probability or fill direction, because you could have a limit order and a stop order that could trigger in the same bar, but depending on how that bar was formed will determine which order gets filled first. So that's the first thing that, let's say, would be a more granular level. The next level, which is an option, is you could say, okay, I'm going to back test on the 5-minute bars, but I want to use a 1-minute bar for my fill resolution. So in this case, what we'll do is, again, it's really just simulating the travel of price through the bar. Instead of doing that, those 3 virtual bars within that 5-minute bar, we take the 5 1-minute bars that form that 5-minute bar and run virtual bars on each 1-minute bar. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody, but
no,
that's the long-winded explanation to the answer, yes.
Okay, got it. Jeff wants to know regarding NinjaTrader 8 and Market Replay. Previously you had mentioned there might be a premium option. Have you made any decisions about how that's going to work?
I guess the decision that was made was I decided against it. I think what the question was is I had asked the community a while ago, hey, would you guys pay? I think that's what it was.
Yep.
And the answer was a lot more no than yes. And since we have a third-party partner that provides a service where people can download multiple files at the same time, we kind of felt that need was the gap was somewhat filled, although not natively by us, by a partner.
Okay. Addie wants to know about opening a LLC-based account in Finland. Any problems with that, top of your head?
No, there should not be. I can't say with 100% certainty. It always depends
Sure.
on the LLC documents, but there should be no issue there.
Okay. Frank wants to know with the new NinjaTrader Brokerage, if he sets up a NinjaScript strategy and he wants it to run 24/7, will it run without broker reset interference? I think he's probably talking about Interactive Brokers, which has like their nightly forced disconnect. So any comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's exactly what was going through my mind as well, Mike. Interactive Brokers, I believe, is the only one of our brokerage technologies that has a forced reset. Oh, pardon me, I think Pat Systems does as well. Some sort of I think at like 3 o'clock, most FCMs shut it down. They have to recycle their servers. With Continuum and with Rhythmic, both run 24/5 at least. And I think they do their maintenance for the most part on the weekend. So the short answer is
Right.
Yes, you can run it 24/5.
Okay. Rafa wants to know if you have any specific plans to increase the number of Forex brokers, specifically ones outside of the United States, such as LMAX.
That's funny. I'm laughing because I was thinking he's going to say LMAX. He's going to say LMAX. The answer is not no, but the answer isn't yes. We're going to add LMAX tomorrow. We've had some discussions with LMAX. But nothing that have reached anything of substance. I can just say that back to what I said before, where we're always looking for value add. But you got to keep in mind that what NinjaTrader's never done is just start adding a ton of brokerage providers because you have to support that technology-wise. That's not inexpensive. And so you need to have a lot of customers on it to support it, for example. And we also have strategic partners that we need to be cognizant of. So at the same time, if we do another deal with an FX provider, it needs to make sense that there's some value that they would provide that's different than, for example, our good partner FXCM would provide. But LMAX is definitely one that if there's anybody in the Forex space that is of interest, they're definitely one.
Okay. We're only 5 minutes away from the last questions now. Michael wants to know if he can clarify Rhythmic historical data. Can he get historical data from Rhythmic, or does he still need IQ feed?
He can get it from Rhythmic. Well, I should qualify that. It will come from NinjaTrader servers, but ultimately from that data came from Rhythmic.
Okay. Text Trade asking if they have multiple accounts. Okay, I'm not sure I completely understand. I believe maybe the question is it possible to have one main account with multiple sub-accounts and be able to see all of those accounts at one time within NinjaTrader? If that's not the right question, please rephrase it.
I guess there's probably two aspects to that question. I can't speak for the brokerage side, how that all works. Within the NinjaTrader platform, we only have, let's say, one level of accounts, meaning when you use one of the order entry screens, there's a drop-down that will show all accounts that belong to your login. So if you log into Interactive Brokers, which has a lot of that, I think they might even use the term sub-accounts, but if you've got 10 accounts within that login, you would see 10 accounts within NinjaTrader. I don't know if that answers your question And again, from the brokerage side, I think it's more or less the same in that, you know, there's going to be a login, and that login has accounts, and all of those accounts will display within NinjaTrader.
Okay. Jonathan says regarding NinjaTrader 8 documentation, he has a really long question here. Basically, he's looking for a more comprehensive approach to the API side of documentation. And you know, Ray, you already mentioned in prior webinars about, I guess, undocumented features being more documented or more supported. He's also asking if there's going to be something more like a user guide instead of a reference guide, written so that the user guide is written from the perspective of what the best way to use the platform is, the best way to do a particular task, whereas reference guide is more about the features of NinjaScript.
Yeah, good question. So I can answer this. The first part, NinjaScript, and let me even take it from a higher level. NinjaTrader 8 is not only about a trading platform, but it's about a trading application development environment. I use the term trading application because it's not limited to indicators and strategies, but it encompasses anything and everything that any developer would want to develop and can be integrated within the NinjaTrader application itself. So for you developers out there, you'll be able to build, if you wanted to build your own chart, you could do so. I mean, it doesn't probably make a lot of sense, but you could do it. If you want to build your own trading interface, you know, your own type of order entry screen, you can do it. You can, you know, use our Windows workspaces, account selectors, quantity selector, as it's a fully integrated framework for you to build whatever it is you want. So I'll start off by saying that. So how do we support that? You know, we have a much more in-depth reference guide. We call it help guide, but I'm going to use the term reference guide, which is, you know, the definitions of all the methods, classes, properties, and things of that nature. The next step past that, and I don't think you're going to see this come out at the same time in NinjaTrader 8, but on my list, and I've talked about it with various people within my organization already, is we're going to build a developer.ninjatrader.com, right? Which is exactly the user side of things, you know, where we would have a community manager and publish documents about, you know, hey, today, you know, this is how you build this, you know, a full resource for developers on the NinjaTrader 8 platform. That's my goal, my vision for this, but that part of it's going to be a little bit further down the road. But I think that answers the question.
Okay. A couple questions about LLC status or S Corp status and professional versus non-professional fees. Elliot, can you clarify? I mean, just because it's an LLC, I believe the CME changed it to where that doesn't automatically make you a professional, but there was some kind of condition. Are you able to elaborate?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot with this one. I don't remember the exact change that they made. If whoever asked the question, if you email brokerage support, I know we have some exact answers specific to those LLC questions. You are correct that LLC originally was looked at as professional. Then they made changes to it. I can tell you that more than 99% of our customers are viewed as individuals and not professionals, and we have a lot of LLC accounts.
Okay.
So it is very likely that your LLC account is looked at as a non-professional,
right.
But just email brokerage support at ninjatrader.com. I don't want to give
Sure.
less than accurate information.
Sure. Barbara wants to know, she says right now she's an existing multi-broker licensed customer. If she buys an additional license, will this new license be treated like the old license concerning broker choice? I'm not sure I understand. Ray, do you know what she means?
No, unfortunately, I don't.
Okay, Barbara, you
I would, you know, first thing would be send an email to platformsales@ninjatrader.com. If it's a platform question, they'll be able to answer that. If it's more of a question related to how a license would work with a brokerage, I would probably say send it to brokerage-sales@ninjatrader.com. Either way, we'll get the question answered.
Okay. Rafa wants to know, right now he's got a single broker license. How much does it cost to upgrade to a multi-broker license?
I believe $500.
Jonathan is asking, does NinjaTrader 8 support the newest .NET? Is there integration with Visual Studio? Okay, so Jonathan, and I would suggest checking out the previous NT8 webinars on BMT, because a lot of this stuff has been covered in a lot of detail. You might start there.
I can answer it real quick. Yes and yes.
Right. Yeah, but if you want hours and hours of detail, those are the webinars. I have a lot of it. Okay, let's see. Only a couple questions left. Okay, I don't fully understand. I believe Gary might be asking, I can't think of what it's called. I just went blank. But like Interactive Brokers has the ability for you to have an account and then give someone else permission to trade or manage that account. And that there's a name for this that is escaping me. Did your brokerage have that capability?
So if you want to give power of attorney to somebody else, that is possible. There is an additional compliance check on anyone who takes power of attorney, especially if they're not registered with the NFA. So obviously a commodity trading advisor would take power of attorney over a individual's account. They're fully registered. Someone who is not, they do a compliance check on whoever's taking power of attorney. But it is completely possible. There are people who would manage, family members and friends accounts. That is possible.
Okay, yeah, they're saying that IB calls it a friends and family account. That's not exactly what I was thinking, but okay.
Yeah, so there are a few differences from the what Interactive Brokers refers to as their friends and family accounts, but in terms of taking power of attorney over accounts, it is possible. It is a pretty standard form,
okay.
And certainly not a problem.
Let me re-ask the question because I skipped the very end of his question. It makes more sense now. He basically says that he wants to execute a trade one time and then have that trade replicated through multiple sub-accounts simultaneously.
Yeah, sure. So it's referred to as an allocation account, a controller account, a block account. They're all basically the same.
Right.
We do offer those. There is an additional charge because there is an additional operational step in terms of allocation. So that is 25 cents per contract that Dorman charges for that. So just expect that there will be an additional cost for allocations. But yes, so the nice thing about the controller account is that if you're trading, let's say, for 5 family member accounts, when you place one trade, it's an aggregate trade. You may get partial fills to get that aggregate trade filled. It is allocated to each individual account on an average price, which is determined by the exchange. And the nice thing is then everybody gets the same performance. Right. So there isn't preferential treatment that on third in line for whatever execution happened.
Okay, that's nice. Cool. Okay, I said there's only a couple questions left, and then we got a bunch of questions, but I'm only going to do a few because we're already at 2 hours. Dale wants to know, does NinjaTrader 8 work with NinjaTrader 7 indicators?
Good question. The answer is that NinjaTrader 8, since it is a next generation platform, we took the opportunity to do things better where we thought we could, fix things that were broken and improve things that could be improved. And one of those areas was NinjaScript. We wanted to again provide an open environment where people can build rich and integrated applications, and that required us to really push the boundaries. So if you've coded within our standards and documented standards, the conversion from a NinjaTrader 7 script to NinjaTrader 8 should be a pretty trivial one. much like the what happened with NinjaTrader 6.5 to 7 if you were around back then.
Right.
If you did stuff that was outside of what we document, I would just say there will likely be a little more work or a lot more work. It really depends on what you guys have done. So there is no direct conversion, but again, if you stayed within the boundaries and have simple stuff, no problem. You know, it's some pretty quick tweaks. Otherwise, if you did a lot of stuff, it's going to be a little work.
Right. And there is a section on BMT for NinjaTrader 8 stuff, guys, so I'm sure that all the programmers will step up and start converting that stuff as soon as the beta is out. Dale wants to know, does NinjaTrader 8 use WPF or WinForms?
WPF.
Robert says, we know that Continuum has a available optional market internals. Is there a list somewhere of what those are?
Yes. I'm just off the top of my head trying to remember where it was. Why don't you roll to the next question? I'll see if I can quickly find that.
Jonathan wants to know if there is some type of a discount if he buys multiple licenses.
Generally, no, but you can always send an email and ask. That would be platformsales@ninjatrader.com.
Right. It's going to be like one of those, is it 2 or 200, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Barbara has clarified her earlier question. She's asking, can she use the old brokers with the new license, or does the new license have restrictions on which brokers are available?
Can you use? I'll say it. I'll answer it this way, and actually I just did find the link. I think I'm posting it in the right spot, Mike?
Yep.
Okay. It says, yeah, okay, NinjaTrader CQG Continuum supported indexes. The answer is whatever you have. If you're an existing license holder, so you have a license, you have access to the technologies, brokers and brokerage technologies that you had when you bought the license. So if you're buying a new license, and this is a good question, I think, since you're an existing customer, this might be a bit of a manual process, but if you say, hey, I want to buy a new license, but give me the same brokerage options that I had because I've been a customer of yours, from prior, you'll have to send in an email and ask us to do that, and just say that Ray said you could do that. And if they say no, because nobody's asked that before, and I don't think we've put in an internal policy that says handle that, because it just didn't come up. So make sure if you have a problem that you say Ray in his webinar said that, and they'll circle it back to me, and I'll put my stamp of approval on it.
Okay. Does NinjaTrader 8 still have external data feed connection like NinjaTrader 7?
I don't know the answer to that one. You should post that in our forum.
Okay.
I think so, but I don't want to hold myself to that.
Okay. So Jonathan, I'm going to skip your last question because it was covered in a previous webinar, and we're at 2 hours. And then let's see. That's the last question. We're done. So guys, if you did not get your question answered, Ray, what should they do? You got 2 different emails depending if it's a platform question or a brokerage question, right? So where should they go?
Correct. So if it's a platform question, if it's support, platform support at NinjaTrader.com. If it's sales, platform sales at NinjaTrader.com. If it's brokerage support, it's brokerage support at NinjaTrader.com. And if it's brokerage sales at NinjaTrader.com.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, Ray. Thank you very much, Elliot, for taking 2 hours out of your day to answer everybody's questions. 258 questions posted. Hopefully we got most of those answered. And I will post the recording of this on our YouTube channel a little bit later today. And if anybody has other questions, they could also use the thread. There's a thread on BMT that Ray has been trying to answer some questions in. Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks everybody for joining us today.
Thanks, Ray. See you guys later. Bye.